Oh my goodness. Okay. I think they're just about done. Hello everybody, my name is Micah, and today we're going to be delving into one of the best animated series ever. Of course, Avatar The Last Airbender. And it's not only animated now. And no, we don't speak of the movie. You may be wondering, what might Micah be making from such a creativity-filled series? Appa the Flying Bison? Momo the Lemur? The Avatar himself? And to all those wonderful ideas, I say no! We're making that one obscure animal that the show barely touches on. The platypus bear! Hey, this is my nostalgia trip, you're just here for the ride. Also, real quick before I lose those of you with TikTok attention spans, while you're watching this video, why not get this month's coloring page over on Patreon? That way you have something to do while you watch, cause I'm sure this is gonna be another long one. This time, it's of the last plushie we made here on the channel, the Mosasaurus. Now that my ADHD friends are satisfied, let's get back to the point of the video, the platypus bear. Next up, the design. Funnily enough, my original sketch for this guy was just a little doodle for funsies, but it turned out so adorable that I just had to make it. I'm planning on using mochi minky fabric for things like the beak and feet. That's to give it a much smoother texture than my normal minky fabric would give it. The last thing I want to touch on real quick are the accessories. Initially, I was going to give this guy that red hat that the baby bear had in the Fire Nation circus. You remember that one? Well, by the time I started the project, I felt like I wanted something a lot more Earth Kingdom, you know? So eventually I decided to swap out that Fire Nation hat for an Earth Kingdom pendant. Now with that out of the way, let's head on over to the desk and get started on that platypus cub. Okay, who's ready to get started? Now this one doesn't have a prototype, but that's because I have these guys. See, I have used this pattern multiple times before. It was first made for Stitch, but then I kind of loved his hug feel so much that I kept making plushies with it. So good. Next was actually this frog plushie that was up on my Etsy shop for like a day. They got adopted super quick and are now happy in their new home. And then I made Prim. This is a recreation of my actual real life cat into an adorable cartoony plushie. And now it's time for them to get a little sibling. My favorite part about this pattern is the hands. They just like, you can just hold on to them and now you're holding their hand and it's just so good and so nice and I love it. I can't wait to have another one of these. I really don't need another one of these, but I kind of really want another one of these, especially one that is tied to one of the best animated series ever. So let's take a look at our fabric for the platypus bear. We have this nice chocolate brown fabric for the base, then a tan for the lighter details, black for things like the bill and flippers, maroon for the hat that I haven't actually decided for sure if I'm gonna make or not, and a little bit of gold for the strap of the hat that I'm not sure I'm gonna make. Now let's get our pieces cut out. Okay, I am officially out of pins. Man, with how many projects this keeps happening in, I should really just invest in more pins. But no matter, we still have a lot of things to sew. Let's start with some of the brown or tan pieces that we need to do, like this one. Okay, because I am a genius, I remembered the tag this time. Except none of my brown tags looked very good. So we're gonna make a new one with this and a little bit of this. Okay, now that that's taken care of, I think I should probably move on to the part that I don't want to move on to, but I should move on to, the face. We'll do the measuring and pinning together, but then while you guys watch the embroidery machine, I'll start working on some of these black bits, like all the little nails and stuff. But first, measuring. Okay, I know this looks like a mess, but I promise every bit of this has a purpose. Now, you guys are gonna head on over to the embroidery machine while I work on the black bits. Have fun! Okay, it's done. Well, one of them is. Let's see what it looks like underneath all this. There it is. Now let's do the second one. No. Nope. It didn't work. It didn't work. I don't know what went wrong. I used the exact measurements from when I made the Prim plushie, and that one looks fine. And yet somehow the eyes are so off, and also, like, are not the right size either. Like, they're too small. And I'm, like, right at the end of the day here, too. Which, like, this feels like a really sucky note to leave off on, but, like, it feels like I kind of need to end here. Any work I do from here on would be, like, a lot. I can't quickly fix the eyes. They're just fucked. So honestly, I think I just need to end it here. Not the video. No, don't leave. Please, come back. I think I need to end my work day here. Meaning I'll have to start by fixing the face tomorrow. This may seem bad, but it might have actually been a blessing in disguise. See, I thought there was only 2 decent ways to fix this issue. One, seam rip off the eyes and hope I don't mess up the fabric underneath them so I can re-embroider them later. Or 2, cut out a new head and embroider that one, hoping that whatever mistake I made the first time doesn't happen again with this one. Which, to be honest, I still don't know what I did wrong. But after just a few minutes away from the project, I had a wonderful, beautiful thought. All stemming from the fact that I hate using the embroidery machine. That was, what if I don't have to use the embroidery machine? The eye of the platypus bear actually has this funky design around them based on a real platypus eye. If I leaned into that, I could use my iconic puffy eyes like I did on Stitch or Roxanne Wolf. Therefore, no embroidery machine! It was perfect! Except there was still one issue. I still needed to recut the head, and I technically didn't have enough fabric for that. So I improvised. Because the distance between the darts and the inner face ring was so small, I was able to piece the face together by cutting through the center of the darts. Therefore, being able to piece the face together with little to no issues. Of course, now I have 3 extra seams on the face that weren't meant to be there. But since the fur is so thick and the seams are so small, they're hidden pretty well if I do say so myself. Now, with all that figured out, let's head on over to day 2 of this project. I made the new head and eyes off camera, so what's on the agenda for today will be finishing up those little details and finally starting to put some bigger pieces together. Now, off you go! You've got some sewing to see. Okay, so I had to take the tag off the body because the legs went up too high. I promise I will put it back on after the legs are on. Also, don't let me forget, these pieces over here need foam. You can't let me forget that. If I don't put foam in these, I'm screwed. And now if I forget, it's your fault. Now let's get to sewing. And we'll start with these little guys. Okay, how about that foam now? So I'm gonna do something that is probably a really stupid idea, but I want this to feel like kind of the perfect plushie. This isn't a perfect plushie quest plushie, but I want it to be perfect. So I actually have 2 kinds of foam. We have this cheaper interfacing foam, but then I also have this foam. This foam is way thicker, but it's also way higher quality. So I probably need to trim it down in width, but it'll feel way nicer than that foam. Though I know this will take forever and my wrists and fingers will hate me after, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Okay, the foam pieces are all done. I am a little bit worried about this piece though. See, because it has to be in 2 pieces, because this piece goes this way and this piece goes this way, I'm worried about it being a little too floppy. Now, of course, I could use glue like I did in my Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donnie video, but I don't love how you can feel the glue through the fabric. So we'll just have to see. Maybe I won't need to use any glue at all. I think before we get sewing, I am gonna do a little bit of pinning, because we can actually start attaching the body pieces together now. And by body pieces, I mean the heads and shoulders. Alright, these are all done now. Or, my microphone isn't plugged in. Wait, how long has it not been plugged? Okay, sorry for the potentially bad audio the last clip or two, I don't know. But we have a bunch of stuff pinned, and I am feeling really confident about getting a lot of stuff done today. So first things first, we have to sew the things with the foam. If I don't do the foam pieces first, I won't be able to sew this piece because the ears need to go in the seam, which is fine for something like this with small ears, but if it were something like a bunny, they shouldn't go in the seam. They should be connected some other way. Anyway, let's get to sewing these. Alright, next up, it's time to put these arms together. We'll have to set the body aside for now because the next thing we need to do after that is put the arms on the body. So you're on pause for the moment, and let's get you put together. Okay, we got the hands and arms done, finally! Oh, this took forever. I always feel like the fingers look too off and ugly and wrong when I look at it from this side, but I know that they look like this every single time I use this pattern, and they look perfectly fine once it's turned right side too. I mean, I guess probably only because it's made out of fur. If it looked like this and I was sewing minky fabric, this would be a problem. But if I were using minky fabric, it also just wouldn't look like this because I'd be able to see everything. Now let's clean these hands up. And now it's time for my
super secret arm attachment technique.
All done. Now it's time to get to work on some of the weird stuff we've got going on. And by weird, I mean I have to do things in a weird order to get the look I want. First, I modified the pattern to have the back split into two pieces, top and bottom. Then we had to attach the top halves to the body so I could add on my arms. Next would be sewing up the back of the top half of the body so that it's all one piece down at the bottom. Now we can attach the bottom half of the back, also known as the bootay, all with the big ol' tail in the seam. And finally, we can sew down the sides of the plush to get the body all put together. Okay, now we need to attach the feet. It's not just these pieces we need to worry about, we also need to worry about foam. This fabric is super stretchy, it's mochi minky after all, and would be ridiculously floppy and not hold its shape at all if I just stuffed it regularly. Which is why we're gonna have to cut out some feet out of foam to put in the feet too. So let's do that real quick. There we go, we got our feet pads cut out. Now let's pin them all together. Okay, they are all pinned, and honestly looking kind of massive, but that's okay. Let's just get these on real quick and then we'll turn them right side too. Lovely. And of course, we got the bean bags, just so that they don't fall up the legs. Now let's turn this baby right side too. Okay, they're really coming together. Now we gotta stuff the claws and the head to check for mistakes. Okay, I did have to unstuff the head and resew it one time, but I think it's okay now. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's bean time! And now, they're ready for hand sewing. Oh. Okay. Well, I was about to just show you that they're ready for hand sewing, and my thumb went right into a hole! So, I guess we're not lucky enough this time to not have any holes on this fur project. But look at them! They're ready to be hand sewn! I currently don't know if I love it, but that just might be because I am in the I hate it phase, which usually happens right after it's stuffed, but before I do the hand sewing. So they might seem perfect and adorable to you, but to me, ugh, I don't know. I'm sure I'll love them later. But for now, they're gonna spend a little time on the desk while I work on other things. What other things, you may ask? Well, what past last Micah was talking about is not what we ended up doing. What I actually did was make this Earth Kingdom pendant for our little platypus bear. Initially, I was going to show you that process here, but it ended up taking 4 hours. So instead, I'm turning that process into a patron-only video. So if you'd like to see me making this Earth Kingdom pendant, go ahead and check out patreon.com/SoMicah. Patrons of any tier can watch the video, so you don't have to worry about joining a specific tier to watch it. Plus, there's plenty more over there than just this video. But don't take my word for it and go check it out for yourself. Anyway, let's head back over to the desk for the hand sewing. Alright, time to hand sew. Today, all we need is some brown thread and some black thread. I am gonna start with the black for the eyes and beak. Now time to sew up all the brown bits. Oh my goodness. Okay. I think they're just about done. Now it's time for some glamour shots. Before we check out those glamour shots, I want to say a huge thank you to all of my patrons. We've been really low on patrons lately, leaving me to have to try and scale back some of my future projects. Remember, as of posting this, I don't make any money off of these videos. I still love making these videos and I love sharing them with you all too. But if I lose all my patrons, that means no more videos, period. Becoming a patron isn't only supporting the channel, you also get tons of really fun benefits. Like those exclusive videos I mentioned earlier, or our monthly coloring pages, phone backgrounds, lots and lots and lots of work in progress updates, and polls where you get to influence what I make here. But with all that said, I think I've made you wait long enough. I think you guys have earned some glamour shots. Time for a debrief. This project took 11 hours, 49 minutes, and 1 single second. And that doesn't include the other 4 hours it took me to make that Earth Kingdom pendant. So technically, this is a nearly 15-hour project. Honestly, I should have expected that the plush would take this long. But because I've used this pattern so many times, I thought I'd be faster at it by now. Oh, and if you haven't already, I definitely suggest checking out my last video making that pie mosasaurus. And if you're confused as to how a pie and an extinct marine reptile go together, just watch the video. I'm sure it'll clear all that up. Or, maybe not. That's it! We're done recording! I gotta record another one after this, though.